Next, we're going to bring up Michael Goldman, who works at the Farmer's Dog. Yeah. And the Farmer's Dog uses Segment and Split to do some really sophisticated A/B testing, and he's going to walk you through that.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Scott. Cool. So diving right into it. Thanks again, everyone, for having me. Thanks for coming, and to the Segment, Split, Iterable folks for having me. I'm going to talk a little bit about using the insights we get from Segment and Split to improve customer experiences and how we do that as a product function. So to start a little bit about the Farmer's Dog. So the Farmer's Dog is creating a new class of consumer brand. We're really providing more peace of mind to our customers, improved health for their companions, and fundamentally change the way that people live with their pets. And we do this through our first product, which is fresh pet food. How many people here have dogs? A few. I know Rachel does. Ross is very cute dog in the office. And I'm sure, like myself, you all want to give your dog what's best for them. So the Farmer's Dog exists to really do that and make it easier for you. So we take in all information about your pet and we formulate fresh human-grade meals and we ship them on subscription directly to customers. So what is my role within all this? So I started back in 2016, was an early employee, currently work on our digital products, and my role is working on the team that focuses on making, researching, signing up for, and feeding the Farmer's Dog the best consumer experience each of our customers have ever had. So the part I want to focus on today is that each of our customers aspect. So like no two dogs, no two customers are the same, and we really want to make sure that we're providing a unique experience and the optimal experience for each of our customers, and that's ultimately going to be better for us as well. So how do we do this? We do this through what I like to call achieving data table stakes. So it's just three things. We need to accurately collect user behaviors, make sure that we're taking in information about, like Scott said, I'm Scott and I opened the application. We need to understand who is doing what on our website. We need to be able to analyze these behaviors across platforms. And then ultimately, we need to be able to test new experiences to know whether or not we're improving it for our customers. So back when we launched the website in 2015, 2016, our stack looked something like this. So we had our website where customers could go sign up at thefarmersdog.com. We had our customer portal where existing customers could go and tweak their subscription. And then we had our CRM, which was an internal tool that we built to manage all of the orders and everything. And then we had our stack. And we knew early on that it was really important to do these top things, but we anticipated that there was going to be a big headache. So Andy, our head of engineering, was clairvoyant in that he anticipated this problem, the spaghetti string problem that Scott talked about, which is just insane, connecting all of our owned portfolio of websites into our stack. So what we did is really early on implemented Segment, which does this seamlessly and kind of checks off the first two boxes that I spoke about. So through Segment, we're able to accurately collect user behaviors so we can identify different events like when a customer clicks a CTA or when they check out. And then we can also pass through attributes like what their zip code was at the time, other information they did prior to doing those events, and pass that downstream into all of our different tools that we use in our technology stack. And this is the second part, which is being able to analyze this behavior across platforms. And this is really important because our data function and our marketing function and our CX function all need to use these insights actionably and be able to be confident in them and know that they're accurate across the board. So you can see here that we still have one box unchecked, and that is the testing aspect. So now that we have this wealth of information across the board, we can form hypotheses, but we don't have the ability to test them. So we don't know, are we improving this experience for customers, or are we just making a beautiful new experience that nobody actually cares about? So we noticed this because an example here is our hero homepage area. We actually never had the confidence to be able to update this and know that we would improve it for our customers because we couldn't track it effectively. So from the time that we launched the website until the time we onboarded Split, spoiler alert, that's who we went with, we actually had the same experience for every customer who landed on our homepage. And we knew that this wouldn't be the best experience necessarily, but we wanted to go out and find a partner who would be able to tackle these complex tests with us. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit about now. So we onboarded Split for a few reasons. The first being that they play really nice with Segment. So it's an easy integration where we can take all those events we were already tracking, pass them downstream into Split, and create new metrics that we can then test off of. So it made it really simple to get up and running. So we had all these ideas for tests. We already were running some experiments, but this helped us move much quicker. The second piece is that Split was able to run both the server-side test that we were hoping to do for the big bets, as well as the client-side test that we were hoping to do for optimization on our website. So I'm going to go over some examples now of how we use both Segment and Split to improve our customer experience for actual users. So here's an example tying back into what I was speaking about before, which is that homepage hero area. So the first touch point of a new customer. As you can see here, I've identified all these different touch points that a customer can see right when they land on the page. So things like the background, the headline. And what we did is we had a hypothesis that really this wasn't the optimal experience. So the first one we came out with might not be the best. So we talked to a lot of users, saw how they were interacting with this. We looked at the data. And effectively what we did is we used Split to wrap this entire area in a split so that we could test on it using a feature called dynamic configuration. And what dynamic configuration allows us to do is empowers our marketing and our growth team to run their own experiments. So, or myself in product. So I could easily go in and say, okay, I think that for our influencers, we should, for the traffic that is coming from the source of an influencer, we should show a background that's UGC, for instance. Or for customers who over-index, from their marketing channel as dry food feeders, maybe we should do a headline that dogs should eat food, not burnt brown balls. These are just examples of tests that we can really quickly ramp up, need no engineering resources, and they increased our velocity significantly. So when we ran this experiment, we used a key metric of lead rate, which is effectively the number of customers who give us their email address on the next page, actually, divided by the number of customers in the treatment, and that's fired through Segment events. And we were able to improve this by 14% in just a few weeks. So that is a really good example of how we could, with limited resources, have a fairly large impact at the top of the funnel, capture far more leads, and ultimately get many more signups. So we're providing a better experience to more customers with far less resources and doing so confidently. Another example I want to go over is a little bit more downstream. And this is talking about kind of the elephant in the room with e-commerce, which is price. Of those people who had dogs in the room, how many know exactly how much they pay per week for their pet's food? We got a few hand raisers. I'm sure Rachel does because she's on her food. And it may over-index in this room as well compared to our user base. But what we noticed is that many of our customers didn't know this. And that's just the nature of pet food. Many customers buy the big bag of kibble and they feed it over time. And you don't really know how much you're feeding per week, how much you're paying per week. So we wanted to focus on how we frame this price so we can allow each of our customers to rationalize it within their budget. So we identified a key metric of checkout rate, so the number of customers who were checking out, the success, the segment event of checkout success, divided by the number of customers who saw the treatment, and we ran a test. And this basically is the way that we frame price. So on the recipes page, this is the first touch point in price. We historically, in the legacy experience, you can see on the left side, speak about it on a weekly price. But we found by talking to users, that's not the way that everybody rationalizes price for pet food. A lot of people were saying, daily, or how much does this cost per day, for instance. So we ran variant A here, which was effectively a discounted trial daily price. So it's the amount that the trial would cost you on a daily basis, including the discount you would get at checkout. And then we also ran another variant that had no price at all on this page, and we waited till checkout to frame price. And we got these different variants by speaking to users and running some tests earlier in the pipeline through prototyping. And we're fairly confident in this, and we actually found that variant A increased our checkout rate metric by 20%. And this is massive. It's at the end of the funnel. It's getting customers over the finish line. And this is another primary example of how we can glean these insights and run really rapid experiments to improve this. And as I'll talk about a little in the future, we know the work here isn't done. We know that maybe this price may resonate with certain customers, but not with others. And through segment and split, we're able to target these customers more accurately and provide all customers a better experience. The last experiment I'll touch on really briefly here is not quite a traditional A/B experiment in that we had high confidence, but this is more about how we use segment and split to release products more responsibly and more confidently. So in this example, you can kind of see the distracting GIFs on the right. We noticed that a lot of customers were getting frustrated when they got to the checkout page of our onboarding flow because they noticed that at the order summary was at the bottom of the page. So we noticed that a lot of customers were checking out worse on mobile than they were on desktop, primarily because they were filling out the form, and then they were only seeing price at the bottom after filling out like 20 fields. So this was really frustrating. So we were fairly confident that we'd be able to increase conversion rate and improve the experience by putting this at the top of the page. But instead of releasing it to all of our customers like we would have in the past, instead we threw it on a split, released it through a canary rollout to 20% of our traffic, kept an eye on that key metric of checkout rate, which we talked about earlier, and just looked at the data. And after noticing that it's an improved experience, not only for customer satisfaction, that it's just a better experience for each of our customers, and it's still improving the checkout rate, we can then release it to larger subsets, maybe 50% of our customers, and even 100. And this is really important because it allows us to make sure that what we're releasing doesn't have any bugs in it, that we're really responsible in keeping an eye on a lot of these key metrics that drive the business. So just some key takeaways before I wrap up. I want to make sure everybody gets back to the bar. In order to do the things that we spoke about before in terms of improving this customer experience for all of our customers in researching, signing up for, and ultimately feeding the farmer's dog, we have to be able to accurately collect those user behaviors. We have to be able to pass them along to our different platforms and analyze them and make sure that we're really confident in the data. And then ultimately, we have to be able to test new experiences for customers confidently as well. So just some transparency about what we're working on and what we hope to do in the future is to continue to iterate. We want to increase our velocity, and Split's been great in helping us increase the velocity on a regular basis. We use the philosophy that I think Brian Norgard, the CPO ex-CPO at Tinder, had said that what can be finished is not a product or something along those lines. So we think about everything in the same vein, that even though we improved the conversion rate from a test like the recipe summary pricing, our work isn't done. So we want to continue to iterate there. We also want to leverage more of Split's server-side testing functionality. So these are those big bets, things like pricing, elasticity. A lot of our data team is really interested in. So leveraging those is definitely in the pipeline. And then ultimately making sure that we're maintaining the best practices in releasing new products and that we're really responsible and confident in all of our releases. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.